people talk about, what a high road leader should do, and caring about others, and being focused on others and taking care of them. I seen what that looked like, and that meant a lot to me. And there were many other things that Brent done over the course of the time we were together, that showed me a picture of what a high road leader looks like and what they do, their actions, not just what they say, but what they do.
Today, we are going to be talking with Jeff Davis, and we continue our conversation about the most important person you ever lead is yourself. And that's all of us as leaders. We're the most important and the hardest person to lead. Uh, be sure to listen to our podcast that's hosted by Eric Kloss. We've got, already out there on Spotify, YouTube, and the Apple, whatever you listen to. Be sure and go out there and download that and listen to that. Today, we're going to be talking about characteristics of a high road leader. As an announcement, as a note, we are going to move forward with this call of looking, of talking about just one particular topic. So today is going to be talking about, how to be a high road leader. What's the characteristics of that? We're going to talk a whole lot about valuing others. So if you have particular topics that you would like to see us do, please send that to me. Send that to anybody that you know that's associated with this that can get the information to me. We definitely want to make sure that we give you the content that you want. So we're going to be talking to Jeff Davis. Many of you know Jeff, but for those that don't, Jeff has been in EMS for quite some time. He became an EMT in 1981. He got his paramedic in 1984. He started a leadership position, his first leadership position in 1985 as the director of McNairy County EMS, went on to become the director of Medical Center EMS there in Jackson, Tennessee. Currently, Jeff is the regional director at Arivac, or was it Arivac, which is now under GMR since 2003. Jeff is most certainly a servant leader, and when Jeff and I were talking and preparing for this call, I asked Jeff some questions, and I didn't really have to ask him that because I know that Jeff lives that. If you know Jeff, you see that in him. He is certainly a servant leader. He has a servant leader philosophy. He most certainly cares about his people. He wants to see them grow, and his people are very, very important. And also, he's very much in tune with patient care, it being important as well. And that's why we're all here. Jeff has a really cool saying that I 100% believe in, and he said, "Culture eats lunch, eats vision for lunch." That's an amen. Culture eats vision for lunch. So definitely, maybe sometime Jeff will get you back on here and we'll talk about that for sure. Uh, I want to just kind of get a real quick plug in before we get Jeff on here. Today's conversation is going to be really centered around a new book that John Maxwell just put out called High Road Leadership. If you are a reader or like to listen to books on Audible, I would highly suggest you get that book because, man, it is fantastic. It's John's 89th book, and it's got a lot of great things in there that we're definitely going to be hopefully trying to get to today. One of the things that one of the things that the book really just kind of summed up for me as I was reading it, it summed up leadership in one word. And we all talk about what is leadership, and we have a definition of leadership. And I know when Eric and I do our leadership classes, we talk about what's the definition of leadership. But this book actually sums up leadership as defined in one single word, and it's called others. Others. We can define leadership as others. And that is truth, Jeff. Everything
You're
about
right.
leadership is others. That's what we're here for. And if we're here for ourselves, then we're in the wrong mindset, right?
I
So,
agree.
so Jeff, take it from here. Tell us about, your insight here. I know we've got lots of things we want to definitely unpack here, and I'll be quiet and let you get started.
I need to take you with me, so you can tell that story of who I am, because I wasn't sure if we had to write guest on here at first when you started talking, too kind for sure. Hey, you're right. Yeah, it is about others, and I can tell you, I'm not the perfect leader. And in the different books that John has written, as well as other authors that I read, um, there's some things in those books like the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. There's some of those, maybe three that you can call it good at. Uh, the others I'm still working on. But John's new book is different in a sense that it's definitely timely, um, because John, the book is high road leadership, and it's bringing people together in a world that divides. And certainly in our world and in our country, there's a lot of division that's happening, whether it's political, whether it's somebody having their own agenda and so forth. There's so many things that happen and that are going on that divide people. And if we're not careful as leaders, we can get a mindset that it's my way and I have the best ideas and so forth, which divides people. It divides teams. It divides our ability to bring people together. And Phil, I need people that are different than me. Years ago it was WWJD. What would Jesus do? And I used to use that and just to have fun. I like to have fun. I said, now guys, listen, if you get into a problem and you're not sure what to do, just remember WWJD. What would Jeff do? And you'll be all right. Which is totally not true. Okay. Because people have different ideas and different things, and when you bring people together, you get a better answer, you build a better response. If it's just one person that's making a decision and coming up with what we're going to do, it's limited. And so as a leader, it's very important to bring people together, to bring people to the table that have different ideas and that are from different backgrounds and so forth. So you can actually get a better idea of what to do and how to move forward. But in John's book, I've read it, I've listened to it. I like sometimes to listen to a book while I'm reading it, so I can hear it and see it. um, and I'm finishing up a master class on this book. But what John has done is he's provided a picture of what a high road leader looks like. And if we can get a picture in our minds, many times that helps us understand what we're looking for. The saying is a picture is worth a thousand words. And so John works in this book to lay out in a way that brings a picture in your mind of what a high road leader looks like. So it is definitely a book that helps you grow. And man, I need all the help I can get. I say that all the time, but it is true. When you stop growing, you stop living. And man, it's not a problem for me to learn something new every day.
Right, right.
If I wake up in the morning, get up and talk to somebody and get involved in some things, I'm going to learn something. I'm geared that way, listening and looking and so forth. But growing is really important. And there's 12 chapters, and these chapters are developed and designed as distinguishing characteristics of a high road leader. And we definitely can't get into all of those today. But John, there's some people that haven't had the opportunity to have and or work with a great high road leader. They don't have a mentor that's a great high road leader. So some people haven't been able to see that in action. I'll tell you a story. I may tell you two, but so you have to keep me on track on time. But um, when I went to work at Med Center in Jackson, my leader was Brent Lemonds, and many of you remember Brent Lemonds. If you ever knew Brent, you won't forget him, and that's in a positive way.
Hmm.
But um, I'll tell you a story that happened that kind of helps you understand what a high road leader would do. So we had a policy regarding uniform and what that needed to look like, and we had somebody that was not following that policy, and so Brent and I had him come to the office and sit down and started talking about the importance of the uniform and what it looks like and the impression when you go into someone's home, that first impression sometimes they say yeah they're good or not or whatever. We just talked about professionalism and all of those things, and ask this employee, why don't you follow the policy? Why don't you have the black shoes that we have in the policy? And during the conversation, the employee started crying, and he said, I'm ashamed to say this, but I don't have the money to buy them. And it's almost like I'm sitting there right now in my mind, but uh, he said, I don't have the money right now to buy the shoes. It's not that I'm against the policy and want to go contrary to the policy. I just don't have, the funds. And Brent said, okay, let's go. And I looked at him. He said, let's go get in the car and take a drive. We went and got in the car and took a drive to a shoe store.
Mm.
And Brent bought the employee a pair of shoes
Wow, that was Brent. Yes, that's what it
and
was.
did not expect, in fact, told him he didn't want anything back.
Mm.
It was his gift to him, and it was nobody else's business. Um, because at the same time, we didn't want the guy to feel bad and word get around. He can't. So I people talk about what a high road leader should do, and caring about others and being focused on others and taking care of them. I seen what that looked like, and that meant a lot to me. And there were many other things that Brent done over the course of the time we were together, that showed me a picture of what a high road leader looks like and what they do, their actions, not just what they say, but what they do. So, some people can talk a good part, but when it comes to putting it into action, it may be lacking. So what John is doing is helping the reader, and help me understand better what a servant leader looks like. And we talk about servant leadership, and there's in no circumstance should there ever be subservient. I'm not subservient to others. If there's something that has to be done, hold somebody responsible for the expectations that are placed out there, then you do that. But the servant leadership is all around what you said, others. And it's sad to say that there are selfish leaders, among us. There are selfish leaders around the world. But I'm asking myself, Jeff, what are you doing today to better people that you're responsible for? So they're not responsible to come take care of Jeff. Jeff's responsible to go take care of them, provide their needs. So, um, it's about your values and your good skills and values. Skills we can learn. Values are those things that we have to look at ourselves and say, where am I in in valuing other people? Where have I placed that? And I place both of those pretty high. And in this book, John, talks about that and goes through those things. So I was talking about the difference, looking at the differences in good skills and good values. And again, John kind of paints a picture of what that looks like. And I'll just tell you what it says in the book is that good if you have good skills and good values, then the leader will raise their people up.
Hmm.
if
Yep.
if the leader has poor skills and good values, the leader can't help their people.
Right.
If the leader has good skills and poor values, then the leader manipulates their people. If the leader has poor skills and poor values, then the leader drags their people down. So, um, and as you know, every leader, the people that follow, are going to ask three questions: Do you care for me?
Hmm.
Can you help me?
Hmm.
And can I trust you?
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. That's good.
I
That's
mean
true.
that's what I ask.
Yeah.
And I know people that work with me and around me and so forth are asking those same questions. So I have to ask myself, am I doing things that promote that? Am I, inviting people to the table
Hmm.
to work as a team? Am I doing things that I say I'm going to do? Am I developing trust, with them? So there's so many pieces and parts. One thing, John, that or Phil, I'm sorry, I was looking down. I was reading John, but one thing, Phil, that I really dug into is the concept of um, the emotional capacity. And when you think about emotional capacity, what is that, and how do you grow in your emotional capacity? And you know, it takes time, it takes intentionality to become someone that has the capacity to move forward when things are difficult. Resilience is another word.
Hmm.
Have that resiliency to be able to take on the hard things and not back up. And then when you take on those hard things and you work through those, then you're ready to take on harder things.
Yep. Yep.
So it's not you take on the hard things and then you're ready to do the easy things. It's as a leader, there's demand always there.
Yep.
So through time and intentionality, when we walk through those things, we learn from them, and it increases our emotional response, which is our emotional capacity. Whereas a young leader, I can tell you, there were things that I done and responded in certain ways that I wish I could go back and redo. But it's because I've learned over time that what I done wasn't the right thing to do or the
Hmm.
right thing to say. And so having that strong emotional capacity enables a leader to stay in the game and be able to continue to move forward. And it helps those that are working around that leader to understand that their leader is they have the competency, they have the skills, they have the values to be able to lead in hard and difficult times. So it's leadership is difficult. There are rewards, but it's like John has said over time. Leadership is like this.
Hmm.
It's
Yep.
it's uphill. So
I feel
um,
downhill habits. Downhill habits. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. If you get into leadership because you think it's the easy road, it's just easy money.
Right.
I'm not looking for that, but I sure hadn't found it.
Yeah.
There's something every day that seems to come that you gotta make some difficult decisions, and I'm glad that I've got a team that I can work with and bounce things off of and work together, bring them together to find the best solutions and hopefully in that better our people.
Right,
Um,
right.
so
It's about those people. Well, Jeff, you're not going to believe this, but we're almost out of time. I mean,
wow,
gosh, you have done fantastic. I really appreciate it. So anybody's got questions, please start putting those in the chat. Gosh, so much to unpack there, Jeff. That went by fast, didn't it?
it is.
Yeah, so one thing I just want to add while folks are putting questions in the chat, you talked about this, you know, everything rises and falls on leadership. I mean, that is no more of a true statement that, you talked about the lid. I mean, if your lid is shallow, then your leadership's probably not going to be very grand. And if your leadership is bad, then everything rises and falls on leadership. I think one of the things that we could ask our leaders on the call today, to just simply go back to their people and ask the question, be transparent, maybe put it in an open survey. I don't know, but the question you ask is, if everything rises and falls on leadership, are my people better off or worse from me being their leader? If that is, that right there will tell you exactly where you stand and where you need to go. And it's no more of a true statement. And just kind of as we're getting these questions in here, some of these characteristics that Jeff talked about is, bringing people together, valuing all people, acknowledging your humanness. And that was a chapter there for me, Jeff, man. I've got all kinds of markings in that one, just recognizing that you're human, and doing the right things for the right reasons. So those are just four characteristics of a high road leader, and there's actually 12. So let me go in here real quick and just kind of check out the chat room to see what questions we have. So we'll make sure we get those answered if there are any. Hang on one second here. Let me get all right. So we have a question here. It says, of numerous books by Mr. John Maxwell, which book do you recommend reading first and why? Well, Jeff, I'm gonna let you answer that question because you're the guy that we got here today. I've certainly got a list of my own, but what do
Right.
you?
Everybody, everybody's different. So there's different books from different authors. I read John, but I also read other, but specifically John's books. One that I really think is important, foundational, is the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. Now, a law is a law. If you don't believe the law of gravity, go up to the third floor and jump out and see what happens. So that book is definitely a great foundational book for leaders to read and understand. It gives you a great foundation. Another great book that John has is Developing the Leader Within You 2.0.
Yeah, yeah,
That is also a great book as far as development and growth and so forth. Great book, and then definitely his latest book, The High Road Leadership, bringing people together in a world that divides. That is a fantastic read. A lot of things in that.
yeah, absolutely. All right. Another question is, if someone does not have a high road leader at their place of employment, how do you suggest they find someone to emulate? That's a great question there.
It is a great question. Yeah, um, you know, one thing that I've heard and is so true: the five people that you're around the most, you become kind of like them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's seeking out those leaders and that you feel are high road leaders and connect with them. I mean, if they're really authentic, um, most of those people would be glad to communicate and be a mentor and help. That's what it's. that's what a leader is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Most definitely. We got a time for one more question as we are 2 minutes to time for the end of this call. Gosh, so much to go. So we got another quick question here. What advice would you give to someone wanting to transition from the field to leadership? That's a that's a really good question.
Yeah, it's definitely a great question, and it's very important. My thing is read and grow everything you can as far as leadership. Podcasts like this one today, getting into the leadership classes that are being offered. There's online leadership, live leadership online things that you can grab. Those are the things that you know you really want to dig into, because you can get some gold nuggets that will help you as you transition and into a new role. So
Yeah.
that would be my
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah, find that inner circle, surround yourself with people that you want to be like, make it a diverse group, but make sure that you're with the right people, getting the right direction. So that's a great question for us to answer. So we are coming to the close of our mentoring session today. Definitely want to thank everyone for coming. We've got a great group on here today. Want to make sure that everybody comes back next month, July 5th. I know it's the day after a holiday, but hey, listen, leadership doesn't take a day off, right? It's if you're a leader, it's every day. So we will be here on July the 5th. We would love for you to join us by either video. Remember, we now have a phone number that you can call. Next month will be Eric Kloss and I will be talking about this thing that we talk about, leading yourself. Our phrase for these calls is the most important person you'll ever lead is yourself. Well, we're going to talk about the most important or hardest person you'll lead is yourself. Self-limiting beliefs. We all have those. So join us next month, July 5th, same time, and we're going to talk about those things. And if you have any questions about what we talked about today or want more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Jeff Davis or any of the folks here. We'd be glad to connect you, and we look forward to seeing you. Y'all have a blessed day, and I look forward to seeing you on July 5th.